Welcome back, BioMonsters. Today we're going to be talking about cellular organelles. Now, cellular organelles, it's all about memorization, knowing what organelle does what activity in a cell. So today I'm going to quickly go through some basic information about each of the organelles that you're going to be responsible for. And after we read through together and use our reading strategies, it's really important that you include your reading strategies in your notes. We want you to then go back, use the information that you highlighted in your reading to fill in your organelle graphic organizer. All right, let's go ahead and get started. It says the cell organelles. This is what we're starting with, and this is what our entire activity is going to be about. Cells are the basic unit of life. We rely on our cells to metabolize food, reproduce, pass on genes, and maintain homeostasis. All cells have organelles inside that help them carry out complex tasks. Our job is to figure out what each one of these tasks actually is. All right, let's move on to the next section. All cells share a basic structure. There are two main types of cells, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. All cells share basic structure. They're all surrounded by something called a plasma membrane. The plasma membrane controls what enters and exits the cell. Inside the membrane is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the fluid filling the inside of the cell. All cells also have ribosomes. Ribosomes are tiny circular structures that synthesize, and synthesize is a fancy word for make, so they synthesize or make proteins. Lastly, all cells have DNA. Now let's talk about the nucleus. This is a really important organelle. In prokaryotes or bacteria, the DNA is loose in the middle of the cell. But in eukaryotic cells like plants, animals, protists, and fungi, they have a nucleus in the middle of the cell. The nucleus is an organelle that contains DNA. Because DNA has genetic instructions that controls the cell's activity, the nucleus is often called the brain of the cell. Let's scroll down and look at the next section. Chloroplasts and mitochondria. The chloroplasts and mitochondria are organelles that help the cell get energy. Chloroplasts are only found in plant cells. Chloroplasts have a special chemical inside of them called chlorophyll that makes them green and allows them to make food using energy from sunlight. This process is called photosynthesis. Go ahead and add that to your reading. Mitochondria are found in all eukaryotic cells. Mitochondria convert food into energy for the cell in a process called cellular respiration. The endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body, vacuoles, and lysosomes. In order for molecules to move around the eukaryotic cell, they travel through the endoplasmic reticulum. So these guys basically allow for travel. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has a lot of ribosomes attached to it, so a lot of proteins are made in and travel through the rough ER. The smooth ER is not covered with ribosomes, and that is where a lot of lipids are made. The Golgi body packages molecules for transport or movement outside of the eukaryotic cell. Once it has been packaged by the Golgi body, a molecule can leave through the cell membrane. When the eukaryotic cell needs to store stuff like water or food, it uses things called vacuoles. So storing stuff is done in the vacuoles. In plant cells, there's usually one big vacuole. And this one big vacuole is called the central vacuole. In animal cells, there are usually lots of smaller vacuoles. Sometimes these storage organelles help move stuff around the cell, and they are called vesicles. So vesicles move stuff around the cell. Lysosomes have only one job. They help to break down waste, like old molecules and cell parts. Only animals have lysosomes. The last thing that we're going to discuss is something called the cell wall. Both prokaryotes and plant cells have a cell wall outside of their plasma membrane. The cell wall gives the cell extra support and protection, and it also helps the cell maintain its shape. Now that we've gone through and we've highlighted all the important information, the next thing that you need to do is take the information that you've gleaned from the reading and organize it into your cell organelle graphic organizer. Your job is to fill in the function and then put a check mark next to all of the or underneath the types of organisms that particular organelle is found in. So if we look at the first one is a plasma or cell membrane. We already have the function listed. It controls what enters and exits the cell. The next thing that we need to do is ask ourselves, what types of cells contain a cell membrane? So if I go back to my reading to the very top, I see here that it says all cells share a basic structure. They're all surrounded by something called a plasma membrane. A plasma membrane, right here, a plasma or cell membrane, it asks, is it found in prokaryotes, plants, or animals? And because it says it's found in all cells, I'm going to go ahead and put a check mark underneath all three types of cells. Now your job is to figure out what the function is for all of the other organelles and decide which types of cells they're found in. When you finish your chart, please raise your hand so that your teacher can come around and check for accuracy. Good luck.